You keep coming back, so I have to keep providing for those who entrust me with their time. We've got another comment here, and actually this one is a special one. It's a different shape because it came via email, so this isn't in the public comments, but I think raises a great topic for us to discuss today. So here's what the email says. In your videos, you have covered the topic of why hair loss is seen as almost unimportant compared to other issues. I don't know if this is actually true, but I've been seeing it being dismissed as not a big deal or just get over it kind of attitude from others on forums and in real life. Also, I think it's more gender skewed. If a woman starts thinning, then it's a big deal and her self-esteem suffers. But if a man goes thinning, then he's expected to get over it. I'm not digging this kind of gender equality. I think it's supposed to say inequality. Either way, any thoughts on this? So I love this. I think this is great. What this does is it takes things that I've mentioned in the other 800 videos, but puts a new spin on it. And I think, again, solid question. I love this. So good points made here. I want to try to address them as I go through this. So the first one, so this person is noticing that hair loss for men is sort of just being dismissed by probably other men in general. Maybe the men who've already lost their hair, saying get over it because I don't know, or just and I've mentioned before that it's a first world issue. We're not starving. We've got clean water. Our Donald Trump is our president, but yet we don't have the military taking over our streets and religious riots or anything like that. We don't have any of that. Instead, we're well fed. We're relatively safe. I know safe is more of a concept, but we've got it good here, and we have time and energy to worry about hair loss. Now, I don't want to sound dismissive myself, but at the same time, I think that might be part of the dismissiveness that our society has about hair loss. They don't understand that it is something a man has to work his way through. And I think for the fact, like I've said, I'm collecting subscribers here as this support group because in real life this doesn't exist. I think it is true that in real life, if you express, man, I'm losing my hair, then it's very easy for someone to pass it off or, man, you don't got anything to worry about. Hey, it happens to the best of us. Or someone tries to sell you some kind of way to save your hair, even if you don't want it. So I think, that's definitely valid to say. Now, let's tie this into kind of this gender inequality, because there are women who lose their hair. There are women who have hair thinning, definitely. And another commenter had even mentioned this, and I think this is a great point I'd never really thought about, that whereas it is possible for men to keep juvenile hairlines through adulthood, it's quite unlikely for women. And now that I read that comment, I've been paying attention to that. And I'm noticing that women's hairlines typically, they do have taller foreheads than men who haven't, started losing their hair yet. I've noticed that, and I think that was a good point. So, and I can obviously easily identify the fact that as far as women and how they're judged, they are, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm saying as a fact, there is, I would have to say, more pressure on women for their physical appearance than men. Would anybody argue with that? I don't see how you could. Women are judged more critically on their appearance, on their looks, and not on that, but their fashion. There's more pressure for them to stay as far as up to speed on what's fashionable, right? As far as men, we can kind of get away with stuff. Like I'm getting away with this 10-year-old sweater from Gap that my wife hates. There's another one she hates. It's the tan version. This is the blue version. She hates it. I even warned her this morning, hey, I'm wearing one of those sweaters you hate. So there's definitely more pressure on women, and I totally get it. And I see, and I'm not defending the dismissiveness. I know it may sound that way, but I think I understand it because I feel my thoughts on this is that the double standards kind of neutralize themselves out. And here's how I was making sure that wasn't a snake. It's not. But here's what I think. I've said before that if you talk to women about what they think about men's hair loss, and honestly speaking, yeah, most of them just don't care. They're like me. They expect it to happen. They expect most men to be losing their hair. It's not a surprise to anyone. So it's not a big deal for most women that I've interviewed, that I've talked to. The general consensus. Even last week, I was walking that parking lot, and that one girl called me over and said, well, hey, what are you doing? And I told her what it is, and she just naturally shrugged it off. And I had one person say last week, they said, well, Nick, your wife, maybe she's just being nice when she says she doesn't care about your hair loss. But, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the videos. I've interviewed her twice about this and sat down with her for 10 minutes, and you can see she honestly doesn't care. She just doesn't want me to have long hair is what she said. So back when my hair was thicker, she just didn't want me to have long hair. But the double standard that kind of balances itself out is, so yes, I agree that it's more easily dismissed that if a man's losing his hair, hey, get over it, who cares? I understand that, because if a woman loses her hair, she's being judged more critically of her beauty being based on hair, which makes sense when you have someone like Miley Cyrus, for example. Doesn't she have like hair shaved on both sides and bleached and all this stuff? And it's that trend that you see kind of going on, especially in entertainment, especially even if a girl has long hair and she'll shave like one side, and that's to rebel against this concept that a woman's hair is her beauty. So she does something rebellious against that. I understand the psychology of that, that's why they're doing it, in my opinion. So with that being said, women's beauty is seen in their hair, much of it. They're judged very critically of their hair. So yeah, I can understand it's an earth-shattering thing when most women don't lose their hair and have the thinning to the same degree that men do. So it is more unexpected. It is more on the fringe of what happens. Whereas men, most of us, we experience hair loss. So I get that. As far as that goes, I can understand it. So for me, the double standard doesn't bother me. I can understand why it's a big deal for women and her self-esteem, but why we are expected as men to get over it. So when you really think about it, I think that helps explain why that is. So like I said, not only are women judged more critically by their hair, by their physical beauty than men, but I'm telling you, and you don't have to believe me, but check the internet. For the most part, and I always say it, women are not judging men on their hair. Quote me on that, put it on Twitter. Women are not judging men based on their hair. On their appearance to a certain degree, yes, but not their hair. You're being judged on your ability to make her laugh. You're being judged on your ambition in life. You're being judged on your ability to make decisions. Those are things you're being judged on. And if you're not keeping up to speed with those things, then yeah, that's actually gonna hold you back. Not the hair thing. The hair thing is not something they judge you on. It's something they're judged on. So we're kind of reversing this. And again, I know it's natural to worry about hair loss, to have anxiety about it. And it's a matter of having to get through that, as I have got through it. I know some people think I'm obsessed with this, but again, always I have to do this reminder like once a week because I get comments, Nick, you're obsessed with your hair. Nope, I'm catering to an audience. And sure, there's always something new for me to learn in this journey, but ultimately, I dealt with all of this back in my 20s, and I'm 35 now. So yeah, in college, it was starting to bother me. It was preoccupying me. But, and I've said before, you can trade one insecurity for another. I'm 5'9", which isn't that short, but it's enough that I was insecure about it for years. And now I'm like, I don't care that I'm only 5'9". I don't care that I'm got hair thinning because I never thought I'd have this much. So you trade one insecurity for another, but ultimately, yeah, I'm gonna have to say there is a double standard, but I'm okay with the double standard because I think if anything, I think the double standard works in men's favor. Because if we're not being judged by our hair to the same degree that women are, and most women are not turned off by the fact that we're balding because most of us do it, then if anything, I think women have more to lose in this situation than men. I think men kind of get off easy ultimately if the man is able to overcome the fact that he's losing his hair. And I don't want to seem dismissive of myself. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying quite the opposite. I'm saying it's quite a burden, even if you're like me and aren't bald, but it's still a burden to have to consciously think about it. And I think I need to do another video kind of as a follow-up to this one about dealing with the anxiety of hair loss. Because if it's not proactively dealt with, that's going to remain there until you would do something about it. So I was already thinking about doing that video, but now that I've said it out loud, I definitely need to. So thank you so much for sending me that email. You asked me for my thoughts. These are my thoughts. Hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully, again, you won't think that I'm being dismissive. But I think in the end, men have it pretty good despite the hair loss thing. When it all levels out, I kind of think we have I think we have an advantage as far as that goes. And another video that I'm wanting to do, that I hinted at yesterday, I want to do a video about the male equivalent to having a menstrual cycle. I think I definitely have something fairly new and it's not really talked about that I want to present. So I think this is good. You know, I know that 92% of the people who subscribe and watch my videos are male. So I am catering obviously to a male audience, but I always love hearing female input on this stuff as well. And so I like learning things. I like seeing both sides of the story and trying to find that balance in between. That's what I'm looking to do. So I think this is good. And I think every time somebody leaves a comment or an email in this case, that it keeps this whole thing going and it makes it fresh and interesting. So thank you for emailing. Thank you for commenting. I'm having a lot of fun with this. This is a journey, and I'm the host, but I'm part of it. Thank you. I'm Nick Shell, and I have begun the balding process. I'm not bald, I know that, but I can still help us out as the host. Thanks for watching. But this guy right here, hey, will you help me out? This guy right here, this guy, Seth, that I work with, lucky guy. So you're 33, right?
33.
And look at your hair.
Look at it.
It's so thick. Would you mind pulling up your hairline just real quick, just to show? Like, man, this guy.
Nothing but hair.
Like, I'm only 2 years older than you, but like, just perfect hair, you know? Like, he's the exception to the rule. Like, lucky guy.
Got seriously. My mom's hair, not my dad's.
Yeah. So thanks for helping me out, special guest host. You never know what's going to happen on my YouTube channel. That's Seth. Thanks. That was real, unscripted. I couldn't have planned that.